Sometime over the summer, I got this idea in my head that I really wanted to do a green beauty nostalgia video. I think the impetus was really that I was missing a tinted moisturizer in my arsenal of products, and I thought of this. I could not get it out of my head, and what is more quintessential old school green beauty than the Juice Beauty CC cream? So this then led me to thinking about other products that I used to use that I guess I just hadn't used in a while and missed. Now, this is not strictly green beauty. This is more sort of my early mid era with green beauty, if you will. So this is not really an eco brand, but before there were a lot of really strictly green beauty mascaras, a lot of us were using Tarte because it was one of the more natural brands that was widely available. And then similarly, By Terry is not by any stretch of the imagination an eco brand, but I'll explain when I get to it why I decided to include that. So I picked up 5 or 6 new things a couple of months ago now. So I have been using these things, integrating them into my routine, seeing how I feel about them all of these years later. I thought it would be fun to see, does this still ignite a lot of those same positive feelings about the products that I had years ago? And maybe some of the answers might surprise you. So let's get some makeup on this face. This has nothing to do with nostalgic green beauty, but I thought maybe you'd be interested to know my skincare. Earlier this morning, I did the Ayuna eye serum, just a small, less than a pea-sized amount for both under eyes. Then I did 3 pumps of Earthwise Ambrosia Do Cerrado. This is my last bottle, and I have no good replacement for when this runs out. So many people are asking me about replacements for certain Earthwise products. I am hoping to do a video on that at some point. Then I just did 3-4 drops of the Naturally Drenched Watermelon Dreams. Just decided to keep it simple. This gives a really nice suppleness to the skin. So I don't even feel like I need to do anything to prep my skin. Also because I'm going to be using this tinted moisturizer. Okay, first up, the most nostalgic of nostalgic products, Juice Beauty CC Cream. They have expanded the shade range slightly with this. I picked up the shade Rosy Glow. You can now get this at Target. I have had many different shades of this. This one is a little too light for me, but there are ways to make it work. I have, really quite a nice shade range between concealers, correctors, and foundations in my collection, so I really can adjust pretty easily. Now, when I think back to concealer / corrector, the only product I could really remember that I was not interested in repurchasing was the Tarte CC Under Eye Corrector. It was a very peachy corrector. It was in a little flip-up plastic packaging, square, and I used that for many years just in lieu of, sorry, I really need to put some lip balm on, and I'm just gonna grab what's here, which is the Henné Luxury Lip Balm. I think for old school lip balm, I was using a lot of Osmia Lip Doctor, if I'm remembering correctly. From there, I remember for a number of years using the Ilia Under Eye Concealer, which was nice, but really doesn't cut it for coverage, especially after you have children and have more persistent dark circles. So today, I'm just gonna do a little bit of the Aire Perez Lychee Cream Corrector. I have this in shade 3. And it's actually going to serve to balance out the whiteness of this Tarte product. So you'll see, they're gonna look okay together. So back in the day, I feel like I used to use so much of this all over my face, and I'm much more judicious with my application of this now. I'm not really using it for sun coverage, so I don't feel the need for it to be in such a heavy layer. This is a very thick, moisturizing product. Really good for people with dry skin, which I had very, very dry skin during my early green beauty days. That's a pretty light layer of product, but I feel that it serves my purpose as well. However, this is one of the products that, having used it this summer, I'm not as nuts about it now as I was back then. I think just because I've discovered so many other base products that I really love. The smell of this will always evoke that nostalgia, the green apple smell. It's a little bit too heavy for me now. I prefer a lighter texture. My skin is normal, really normal. Sometimes it gets a little dehydrated, but I just find that when I use this now, I really can't wear many other cream products. I mean, I can, but it starts to just feel heavy and slide around on my face. So I'm happy that I revisited it, but it's not as much of a favorite as it once was. Brows, again, I don't have anything from days past that really made the cut for me to reinvest in this time. Again, I was using a Tarte brow powder. I don't even remember if I used to use a brow gel. I don't think I did. Then for a number of years I used Glossier Boy Brow, but that leaves residue in the brows. It will sort of flake off and or dehydrate and dry out the eyebrow skin, like the skin underneath your brows. So I stopped using that years ago, and I've tried so many brow products. My holy grail combination I'm going to use today is the Rye Brow Serum, which you can get at Beauty Heroes, and this Manasi Brow Quad. I'm just going to power through with my everyday brow routine. I'm gonna move on to the eyes now before we finish the face. And that, I think, is maybe a departure from former order of operations. I feel like I always used to do all of my face makeup first, but I don't know, I just feel more comfortable getting my eyes done before I see how I want color on the face to look. These types of products used to be really popular, not just the Ombre Black Star by Terry Ombre Black Stars, but eyeshadow stick pencils in general. The lighting of this video is driving me crazy. Like a chubby stick crayon type of product just used to be where it was at. Everybody used these. They're quick, the formulas were really good. No one in Eco Beauty has really come out with a memorable chubby stick, eyeshadow stick type of product, but I remember a lot of those brands like ColourPop and Trish McAvoy has a product that's just like this. I used to use those as well. But it was really Misty Rock that was calling me in. This looks a little different on everybody who uses it. It just totally depends on your undertone, but you'll see how fast it is to get just a really multi-dimensional, pretty glamorous, but daytime wearable look. And I would just always get compliments when I wore this. I felt like it was appropriate for work. I could jazz it up like I'm gonna do today with some liquid liner for going out. It just catches the light in such a beautiful way. And I think some of the By Terry shades may have been discontinued. But I was really glad to see this one was still available. Bronze Moon was another one, very popular with a lot of people. I never had that one. So this is one that really lived up to my expectations, and I'm happy to have it back in my collection. I mean, my eyeshadow collection has expanded really significantly from my earlier era of beauty blogging and whatnot. So now I'm gonna go ahead and show you probably my favorite nostalgic product that I've picked up, and is actually even better than I remember. The Zuzu Luxe liquid eyeliner in Raven is better than I remember. And I don't know if it's just that I've been searching and struggling to find something that I liked as much as I liked my original Surratt Autographique. Something happened, it's not the same. I've never been able to have as much success with that eyeliner pen now. And I've tried a bunch in the eco space. I've tried Ilia, I was reusing Plume most of this year, and they're all kind of okay, but I knew that I wanted to try this again, and it really is excellent. I think it's also, I'm just better at doing liquid liner, so the brush I find to be easier than, for example, the Plume liquid liner brush, which has a little bit more give. So the stiffer and shorter a brush tip or a felt tip is, the easier it is to use because you have more control and the brush is not gonna sort of splay out and make things difficult for you. Normally, these days, I don't ever do a liquid liner and sort of a heavy eyeshadow underneath. It would be one or the other type of thing. That worked really well, even though there's, you know, it's a weightier, the By Terry is a bit of a weightier formula on the lid. But you can see it's really black. It wears really well. It's pretty easy to remove. So that just ticks every box for me. So I'm really happy to have this back. Mascara. I also, in addition to struggling through liquid liners the last year or even more, I have been on a quest with mascara. So the one, my everyday mascara these days is the Manasi 7. I like it. It's not the most dramatic, but I feel like it's very beneficial to my lashes. I was also, sorry, let me just dig. Oh, I forgot that I had this over here. So this is what the Plume liner looks like. That I retired this because it was just old, and I was gonna repurchase, but it was out of stock. So you can see that the brush tip is longer on this one, so it just makes it a little more difficult to use. But this is a good one as well if you don't want the Zuzu Luxe. I was also trying the Hourglass Caution Extreme Lash Mascara. Not really a green brand, but kind of like Tarte, where when they came out, you know, they're vegan, cruelty-free, yada yada, ingredients are decent. So this is nothing to write home about. And the packaging is doing the most while also doing nothing at the same time. So, of course, we're gonna go to Tarte Lights Camera Lashes. I just went for a mini, and it was between this or Too Faced Better Than Sex, which I used both of those. I would layer them. That was what I used for so many years. So this little mini is actually really pretty good. I remembered why I used this for years and years. It's very, very buildable. It doesn't really flake. I mean, maybe a little bit. It's really pretty good and decently easy to remove. So I've tried pretty much all mascaras. I mean, most that you would think of in the eco space, and I really don't like most of them. For one reason or another. Either they smudge or transfer too much. They're very difficult to remove. I felt that way about the Aether mascara, which I guess is a moot point because that brand went out of business. A lot of them are just too non-existent. The Plume mascara, the Aire Perez mascara, the Sappho mascara, like a lot of those I just think are not the vibe. But the Manasi mascara I really like, mostly because it's the first mascara I've ever used that I actually feel is beneficial to my lashes. Not only can I get a good effect with it, but it's conditioning to the lashes. It leaves them soft and flexible and healthy. Now I am also newly trying the Living Libations Raven mascara. I did a first impression on my last live on Patreon. My first impression was actually pretty positive, I'll say that. Okay, Tarte Lights Camera Lashes, pretty much just as good as I remember. Okay, now we move on to face color, bronzer, blush, and a lip color. So the only blush that I could think of that I used to use and really love, I don't think the brand is available anymore, Studio 78. I still have mine. I mean, I'm not gonna use it today because this is extremely old. I mean, it would actually probably still be okay to use, but this was always a touch dark for me. This is the shade 02. But I really loved this product. I went through probably 2, and this was maybe my 3rd one. Talk about nostalgia. The cardboard packaging. I think Eco Diva Beauty was one of the only boutiques that used to carry them. If I'm going to use a bronzer these days, it's typically the bronzer that's in this Hourglass palette that I really like. I've used that quite a bit this year up there. And then I have the Manasi Bronzing Duo as well. I don't think I'm gonna use any today. Just in effort to keep it minimal. Now, as far as color goes, again, the only thing that really jumped out at me are products you can't get anymore. These are the vintage RMS Lip to Cheek and Lip Shine. Now, if you have watched me, I know a lot of you have been watching me for quite a period of time. And so you'll remember these, of course. Now, this is RMS Diabolique, and this is RMS Sacred. Again, I have held on to these. I don't use them anymore. And I think both of these colors, definitely Diabolique has been discontinued. Sacred, I don't know. RMS is not a brand that I like anymore. They've gone in a completely different direction. But if they ever brought back Diabolique, I would definitely pick it up. So I recently, again, in the last week's live Get Ready With Me, where I did the Living Libations First Impression mascara, I tried to dupe this color, Diabolique, with what's in my collection, and it turned out to be extremely hard. I talked with my friend Marie and the color green, who I wish would come back to YouTube. I miss her so much on here. She was, because I showed some swatches on Instagram, and she said that the reason that this is probably hard to dupe is because the reason that they probably phased this out is because it has a, what did she say? It's in my messages. It has like a carmine base versus a crimson base. So a lot of my reds, my Manassi reds, the other reds in my collection, they have more of a blue cool shifting undertone, which would make sense for me. But this has more of a warm undertone, and the reason that it was probably discontinued is because the ingredients that were giving it the underlying pigment were not vegan. Okay, so I was not able to successfully dupe Diabolique, as you'll see in that video. I'm not giving up because I think I just need to get a red with a different base pigment, and then you have to add in brown and even a little bit of black to get the depth that Diabolique had. So we were all really surprised on my live to see that Diabolique actually, especially compared to the reds and the berries that I was swatching it against, it actually ends up looking really quite warm, like deep burgundy, like almost like a blackened burgundy. In lieu of these, because these really were my favorite all-purpose color, I used the heck out of these. Bite Beauty as well for lip products. But the only other thing I could really think of that I didn't have, now I have quite a few Gressa eye tints and lip boosts, but the shade Bare in particular, this was like 2016, 2017. And this is often the color that I would wear when I was wearing Misty Rock. So I picked up a fresh pot of this. I'm a little underwhelmed with it now, I have to say. I love Gressa, I love Svetlana, she's a dear friend of mine. Essentialist is holy grail for me. Eye tints are holy grail for me. The color of this is, I think at the time I just had a lot less experience with creams and cream color products. So I was really nuts for this, and I used up pretty much a whole pot of it. I just find now, I mean, to me, this looks okay. It doesn't look fantastic, but I do still think that this is a very nice staple, multi-purpose product, and I'm gonna continue to use it for sure. If you want something a little deeper and warmer than this, then Lilith is another really good option, and that's a newer shade of hers. This is Lilith. So you can see Lilith next to Bare. This is definitely warmer. It's both the color, but also the texture of this. I just remember it being a little bit more opaque and less sheeny. I remember it being maybe creamier. That just could be me not remembering it as it really was. I just think because of my forays into Manassi and, you know, even a lot of Care Weiss products as well is what I've been using in recent years. I just feel like it's a bit more glossy. So you can see that sheen on the cheek. I don't ever remember it really being like that. I really remember it being creamier. Okay, I want to add a little bit of lip liner to this, but I really don't remember if there were lip liners that I used religiously. The only one that I can remember doesn't go with this look at all, and it is one that I still have, if I can find it. This has been a constant repurchase for me. It's the Berry Lip Liner by Jane Iredale. But this would be what I would wear with Diabolique, for example. All right, now I feel like the lighting is too dark. Yeah, so this is what I would wear with Diabolique a lot, and now with these new Manassi pencils, I feel like it's just a new day with eye and lip pencils. I had been using the Fit Glow pencils. I still really like some of these a lot, and then I like the Air Perez pencils as well for eyes. I don't have any Air Perez lip pencils yet. I'm gonna pop on a little bit of Yukon, which is their just everyday neutral pink shade. Just really sort of pulls the lip together. I'm gonna skip highlight today, but if I were using highlight back in the day, it would have been RMS Living Luminizer for sure. I don't really feel like I need anything right now because that lip boost looks so glossy. I feel like my face could maybe take a touch of color, but I'm also just looking really overexposed because of my weird lighting situation in this room today. For powder, I never really used any kind of loose or pressed powder because my skin was so dry. I really wanted as much glow and as much shine as my face would hold on to. But since my skin is much more normal now and I wear a lot of cream products, I do find that I want to take away the shine strategically, like around this area. I think maybe I used to have like a Kosas pressed powder, but I don't remember. Really not noteworthy. The two that I alternate between are the Manasi Loose Translucent Powder and the Haute Cosmetics, which is a Canadian company. I've talked about them a lot in the past. The Bio Foundation. This is what I'm going to use today. It has a little bit of tint to it. It's just really very good. If anyone has a good pressed powder recommendation, I would be interested. The only other thing that I bought for this video was the Intelligent Nutrients Flexiform Hairspray. And this was like a bit of a waste because I kind of knew going in that this was not going to live up to what I used to love as Intelligent Nutrients hairspray. So I think if in some old hair care videos I talked about the Intelligent Nutrients hair products, there was a leave-in conditioner and a hairspray, but they were in tall brown bottles. The brand went through a complete overhaul, rebrand some years ago now. So now they look like this. The formulas are totally different. It's just really, I mean, I don't even need any hairspray in my hair. I barely style my hair anymore. I'm like wash and wear to a fault. Like I really ought to style it more, but I didn't really have a hairspray around, and this is okay. I mean, it's somewhat flexible. I like it better than, for example, the Intersense hairspray, which I don't like at all. But it is for sure disappointing compared to what I remember Intelligent Nutrients being with that leave-in conditioner and hairspray. The only other thing that I didn't get around to ordering but is still available is this little niche perfume company called Vermont Perfumerie. And I learned about them through the Pettivore box. Again, big nostalgia hit there. And it was the perfume Eros. And I missed that and I want it back in my life. For perfume, I am pretty minimal, but I've been using the Ellis Brooklyn Isogamma Super, the Lena Hansen Vibe perfume. I had to take the roller ball off of this because it was defective. And then the In Fiore Rollerball Essences. That's pretty much it. This was a really fun video for me to think about and to buy for and test and try, and now sit down and show you the result. Overall, there are some products I'm really glad to have back in my life, and I was really glad to revisit everything just to also reflect on how long I have been doing this and how happy it still makes me all these years later. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye.